You know what's strange is only in America could someone like Ilhan Omar get this rich. This is rags to riches. Only in America could someone come here from another country and hate us so much and then continue to complain about what the American taxpayer has done for her. And I think Ilhan's rags to riches story is well on its way out. Make sure you smash the like and subscribe button. Follow me down there on X at SubVetRetired. Really appreciate you tuning in and getting up and have coffee with me this morning. If not, I would just be doing it by myself. In honor of the late, great Scott Adams, let's get the mutual slurp out of the way. You can't beat a good cup of coffee. You know, I like two types of coffee, free and free. That's what I like. Go check out the Level 3 coffee company that I'm involved in. They supply me with free coffee. Thank you very much. John somebody, what is this called? John Margan Haler. What a grifter. Good morning there, John Margan Haler. Really appreciate you. Ilhan Omar is a grifter. I will agree with you on multiple levels there, John. And let's go ahead and check out what Donald Trump just said about her yesterday at a press conference. I thought this was fantastic. This was a very eloquent speech by this guy. I love it. The more he says, the more I like him.
And insurrectionists. Nobody talks about the fact that $19 billion at a minimum is missing in Minnesota, given to a large degree by Somalians. They've taken it. Somalians, can you imagine? And they don't do it. A lot of very low IQ people, they don't do it. Other people work it out and they get them money and they go out and buy Mercedes Benzes and they come from here. They have no money. They never had money. They never had a life. They never had a government. They never had a country because there's basically no country. Somalia is not even a country. They don't have anything that resembles a country. And if it is a country, it's considered just about the worst in the world. They come here and they become rich and they don't have a job. I was told that Ilhan Omar is worth $30 million. She never had a job.
$30 million net worth, no job. Was her dad like this Nigerian prince, this Nubian goddess? What in the hell? How could anyone be upset with America when you come here and she should be thanking every one of us. This is a literal rags to riches story. In the chat, how many of you believe that she came about this lawfully, legally? We don't want to make any accusations here, but I would love to pick your opinion. Let me know what you think. How many of you are worth 30 million in the chat? Rags to riches. And another question I have for everyone. How many of you have ever visited Mogadishu or Somalia or any of those sort of areas? I took a little motorcycle trip down through Africa. It was about a 1,700-mile trip on a motorcycle on a Honda Africa Twin was the type of motorcycle I rode. And I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't see a lot of palaces. I didn't see a lot of palatial facilities down there. But Ilhan's doing pretty well for herself, is all I got to say. And now this gets even more. What's that old saying from The Big Lebowski? New shit has come to light, man. Right? This is amazing that finally we are seeing what we all knew. Somebody says I got to work 45 years every day. She became a millionaire. There's no way she became a millionaire in such a short amount of time. Come on. She's loaded. She's so smart. She is the smartest woman in the room. Just ask her.
News alert, Ilhan Omar under investigation after racking up millions while she was in Congress. Senior national correspondent Kevin Cork has it. What's up, Kevin? Good to see you, my friend. What's the old saying? Follow the money? Well, that's precisely what the House Oversight Committee is doing. They are probing squad member Ilhan Omar's skyrocketing family wealth, Jesse, especially in the wake of that $9 billion, some would argue $19 billion, Somali social services fraud scandal that exploded in her district in Minnesota. The oversight chair, James Comer, says his team's lawyers are exploring the extraordinary step of subpoenaing Omar's spouse over his curious business practices. Republicans want to know how the Somali-born Omar and her politically connected husband, Tim Minette, went from being nearly broke to being worth around $30 million in just a year, according to her 2024 disclosure forms. Quoting Comer now, there are a lot of questions as to how her husband accumulated so much wealth over the past 2 years. It's not possible. It's not. And he's a money guy. Minette and his partner, Will Haler, back in 2022, formed an investment firm, Jesse, named Rose Lake Capital. They had $42 in their bank account at the time, but in a year, up to $25 million, according to Omar's filing. By the way,
did you hear that? They had $42 in their account. And now, oh my gosh.
He also has a wine business that went from next to nothing to millions on its books. Not surprisingly, associates were so perplexed about the irregularities, they brought information and attention to the feds to, look into it. Now, for her part, the Congresswoman has repeatedly, and I say defiantly, denied any wrongdoing while being also careful to criticize the ongoing probe. But, sometimes they say, Jesse, the ones who yell the loudest have the most to hide.
Well, innocent until proven guilty, I'm sure.
Right.
Innocent until proven guilty, he is sure. This is where we're at right now in America. The same people that hate us get rich off of us. That's kind of where we're at right now. And it's disgusting. It is absolutely pitiful that, I mean, I just can't get my mind around this of how we allow these sort of things to happen and nobody takes any real notice of it, or it doesn't seem like anybody's taking any real notice of it. You know what I mean? It just seems something's not right. Something's not right, man. Something is not right. And hopefully we get to some level of discernment with everything now. When the president gets involved, when it reaches the president's desk, I think that's how we get involved. Jeff, fraud kickbacks pay well. Who said that? That was a comedian. It's a big club and we aren't in it. I forgot who said that. Was it Andrew Dice Clay? No, I can't remember. I can't remember. Somebody in the chat will know who said that, obviously. Let's go here. I've got something else I want to show you this morning that I thought was pretty damn interesting. Let's go. Let's close that one. Let's open up this one. I want you to hear what Donald Trump says about this. Let's go right here. Listen to what the Trumpinator says here.
We heard a long list of accomplishments from the last year. Could you cherry pick the top three?
The building of a really powerful military has been a great achievement, and that would include the Venezuela thing. That would include the attack on Iran and the wiping out of the nuclear threat. I think that's been really amazing what we've done militarily. I think what we've done in business has been incredible. We have $18 trillion coming in plants.
Did you hear the part about the military? That's the one I want to latch on to here, because I think this is an amazing clip that was released by the White House highlighting what our United States military is capable of, what they've accomplished, and where we're at right now.
Good morning and welcome to the War Department.
If you attack the United States of America, we will crush you without mercy. That's why we named the former Department of Defense the Department of War. 7 American B-2 bombers dropped the 14 30,000-pound each bombs on Iran's key nuclear facility.
Nicolas Maduro had his chance. He effed around, and he found out.
Blessed with the strongest and most powerful military in the history of the world.
This is America first. This is peace through strength. And the United States War Department is proud to help deliver. Welcome to 2026. And under President Trump, America is back.
I'm going to tell you right now, I felt a little inspired whenever I saw this. When I saw this, I felt very inspired. Because if I were a member of the protesters in Minnesota right now, I think I would be worried about those guys getting involved, which is very good possibility right now. Donald Trump flew to Davos, I believe is where he's at this morning, right? I believe he's in Davos, Switzerland. And I believe by Donald Trump being out of the country, it's lining up with exactly what I think. February 1st, January 30th at midnight, I believe is where we take another massive step in United States history. I believe that's where we take another massive move in what's going to happen in that area. Minnesota, with the fraud investigation opened into Ilhan, with yesterday the subpoenas for Tim Walz, Jacob Frey, all of these other people. This is going to be huge. You've got Nick Shirley, that I wouldn't say he exposed it, but he highlighted it. The David guy did all the investigations, but Nick was the platform to get this information out. He's going to be testifying in front of Congress today, which I think is absolutely amazing. And I really think we're going to get somewhere with this now. I firmly believe we're going to get somewhere with this. There's a hell of a guy right now by the name of Byron Donalds that is getting involved in all of this as well. Listen to what Byron Donalds says about this. He's going to be the next governor of Florida, in my opinion.
Investigation hasn't begun yet, but do you think it had anything to do with the Somalian fraud happening not only interstate, but in many cases interdistrict?
Well, look, it's good to be with you this evening. I don't want to go that far because right now House Oversight is still investigating the Somali fraud in her district and other parts of the state of Minnesota. And, you don't want to really conflate the two. But when it comes to Representative Omar, I mean, look, going from whatever he's, was it 50,000 to 30 million? I mean, that's wild. Never seen anything like that. And so now House Oversight, we're going to get to the bottom of this while also making sure we get to the bottom of the fraud that was going on in Minneapolis. We're not going to let either of these issues get away.
I appreciate you're not conflating the two, but doesn't it just seem interesting, we'll say, that in a year and a half time, her reported earnings, again, these are federal documents. You have to submit the same documentation as a member of Congress. She had like 50 grand, and then suddenly she has 30 grand. And then in her state, in some cases, again, allegedly in her district as well, we've got billions and billions of dollars that Somalian fraudsters have stolen. Do you think that's just a wild coincidence?
It's wild. It makes no sense. I don't want to go as far as saying that she was taking that money from the federal taxpayer, because that's just not clear at this point.
Right.
But I see why everybody has a high degree of skepticism, and that's why we're going to investigate this. And as soon as we start getting those findings, we'll be releasing that to the public.
Okay, take a look at how she's responding to these accusations.
Ever since I've gotten to Congress, they have been doing these sort of weird ethics investigations. None of them have yielded anything because I have been as transparent as I can be.
Okay, so she says she's being targeted. Are you targeting her, or are you just looking at someone who might have broken the law?
No, we're just going to look into the facts of whether or not the law has been broken, and that's common sense. That's what we should be doing up here on Capitol Hill. And so I would think, especially considering how there's been questions about this for quite some time, very public questions. The fact that she was at CBS having to answer that kind of stuff, she probably could have just been more forthcoming. But now it's in the hands of oversight, and we'll see where it goes.
All right, Donald Trump on Truth Social, she should be in jail or even worse punishment, sent back to Somalia. So I guess I'm just wondering how sweeping your investigation is going to be. Are you going to look into the accusations that she married her brother to get him into this country?
Very possible, but I think it's important for everybody to understand when we were going through all the investigations with the Biden crime family, at that time I was very clear, we're going to continue to follow the evidence. We're not going to try to create a...
Yes, I love these. Hold on. What does this say? Really? I'm off, Ben. Thank you very much for the live, but you're infiltrated. I'm infiltrated. Okay. I have no idea what infiltrated means from the paranormal channel. But thank you very much. That's a great comment right there. Okay. Check out my channel sponsor. That is mypillow.com/veteran. 800-723-6815. Support Mike Lindell. If we could get him elected as governor in Minnesota, things are going to be amazing. I don't know what infiltrated by paranormal. Did somebody see a ghost behind me or something? Did I miss a ghost? Wow. Okay. Somebody brought the ghost with them. Thank you very much for bringing the ghost, I guess. I didn't have ghost on the bingo card this morning. Love from the UK. Paranormal channel. I have no idea about being infiltrated. If you're in England and you're calling anyone infiltrated, you need to stick your head out the window because the United Kingdom is conquered. When England starts calling up 65-year-old men because you can't recruit enough people in your military, you need to put your hands in your back pockets and carry your ass to Common Sense Town. Don't even think about criticizing the United States when you live in England. I quit caring about the United States. I quit caring about Britain. Well, never. I never cared about England because we wrote the strongly worded letter way back in 1776. So paranormal, I appreciate you watching, but I wouldn't come in here saying we're infiltrated. Oh, you mean the chat's infiltrated? What? Who cares? I love trolls in the chat, man. It's amazing. I love them. And if you get offended by some trolls in the chat, no wonder your country is effed. Wow. Holy crap, dude. Man, get some thicker skin, dude. Good God. The UK is toast. Do they say toast? Yes. Good grief. Anyone in England saying anything about the United States should have their freaking head examined. I don't know where you're coming off with this, but good. Whoa. Okay. Last time, if I want any lip out of England, I would scrape it off my zipper. That's how much I care about England. That's how much I care about England. Let's go here. Right here. This will trigger the chat.
Has an exclusive report from Minneapolis. Good evening, David.
Brett, good evening to you. We know that federal subpoenas were delivered to the offices of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, State Attorney General Keith Ellison, and 3 other local officials. We spoke exclusively with Attorney General Pam Bondi within the last 90 minutes.
Whether it's a public official, whether it's a law enforcement officer, no one is above the law in this state or in this country. And people will be held accountable. This state is a mess right now. We've seen the chaos and it's constant. And our men and women in law enforcement deserve to be safe. And that's what we're going to do in Minnesota.
The Attorney General landed in Minnesota just a few hours ago, Brett. Her first time here on the ground since chaos erupted following the shootings of Renee Good earlier this month. We reported last week both Mayor Fry and Governor Walz are under criminal investigation by the Justice Department for allegedly interfering with federal law enforcement. Bondi said in general terms about the rhetoric from the elected officials criticizing that. Governor Walz, in a statement today, said the Justice Department investigation sparked by calls for accountability in the face of violence, chaos, and the killing of Renee Good does not seek justice. It is a partisan distraction. The mayor says when the federal government weaponizes its power to intimidate local leaders for doing their jobs, every American should be concerned. Now to the protest, Brett, in that St. Paul church a couple of days ago on Sunday. DOJ officials say a federal crime may have been committed. The FACE Act protects access to abortion clinics and houses of worship. Here's the AG on that.
I spoke to Pastor Parnell. I'm going to be meeting with him shortly, and that should not happen to any Christian, to any religion, to a synagogue, to a mosque, to any place of worship in our country.
In our interview, the Attorney General made mention that several high-profile prosecutors quit the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Minneapolis recently, but she said that does not deter the mission and says stay tuned. There is more action on the ground when it comes to the Justice Department here in Minneapolis.
I like what's happening right now. I'm telling you. I want to show you this guy. This guy right here, which is a very... I mean, this guy's got some real issues. Apparently, he's the one that went into he's got a Trump King shirt on, so go figure.
There's no base for these charges. I did not block them from, their service. They welcomed us in. They never asked us to leave. The police never came in and removed us. So we didn't stop their service. In fact, people were still praying the entire time. The music was still playing the entire time. So, Pam Bondi, you want to come and arrest me? You want to come and give me charges? So be it.
Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are your people? Why are you not at Whipple every day fighting for the humanity, standing for our people? Where are you? You drink your coffee, you got your jewelry, you have your nice clothes, but what do you do? What do you do to stand for your Somali and Latino communities? You have no comment. Exactly. Renee Good. Renee Good. Freedom. We have a duty to win. We must love and support one another.
Wow. This is crazy town. Literally, Minneapolis is crazy town. I don't understand how I've done some stupid stuff in my life. I have never went into a house of worship and protested. I mean, there's a couple of lines that I would draw. Somebody said the pastor asked for them to kindly leave. You're absolutely right, but I think it's time to quit playing kindly. Deviltown, apparently they have some kind of satanic monolith or some kind of satanic statue there. Says it's in St. Paul, Minnesota, not Minneapolis. I don't care. I don't care which city it is. I don't care if it was in Lubbock, Texas. I would be just as upset about there. Now, Lubbock, Texas, I think some of those people would have got ventilated. I believe if they tried that in my church, they would get ventilated. But, hey, that's where they're at right now. Let me show you this. I want to show you this. This just happened yesterday or late yesterday afternoon. The United States Navy, in coordination with the Marine Corps, just took another oil tanker headed to, I believe, Iran is where this one was going. Look at this. This makes me so happy. Go Navy. Look at that. So there's the Liberian tanker, United States Navy, in coordination with the Marines. Look at the back here. They boarded the ship. and took this other tanker, headed out of Venezuela with some oil. They need an exorcism. I don't think that would help. I think we're reaching Sodom and Gomorrah level justice. I believe we're reaching some biblical times right now with what's happening, and something is going to occur. We know that. Whenever I think when you play around with certain factions, bad things happen. Bad things happen to bad people. That's just the way it is. Let's go here. Let's go here. And I want to get some comments on this and see what you think, because there's definitely a double standard that's happening in America right now. And I want to show you this because I don't know if I can explain this. I don't know how to explain this one away. But this is Tom Homan receiving an award from Barack Hussein Barry Soetoro Obama for 920,000 removals. Donald Trump, ICE chief, whenever he worked for Trump, called a Nazi. Same person, Tom Homan. 2012, Obama deported 409,000. 2025, Trump has deported, I think it's over 300,000, but that's whatever. We're splitting hairs. But the only thing I'm noticing different is this guy, Barack Obama, has a little more pigmentation to his skin. So obviously it's okay for Obama to do whatever he needs to do and not for Trump to do what he needs to do. That's up to you to decide, right? That's up to you. Let's go here. I think CNN is well on their way to being sued again because they had a guy on that I believe is going to get them sued because they allowed him to say this. Listen to what he says and let me know if you think that Donald Trump should sue CNN.
And he's basically playing Risk because people hurt his feelings or people ostensibly hurt his feelings. So I am appreciative that the president is being transparent about this. I would love it if he was more transparent about the human sex trafficking network that he was a part of, but you can't win them all.
Cameron's grateful that the president is being transparent about the Nobel Peace Prize and his desires for Greenland. Scott, what do you think about that?
You going to let that sit? Are we going to claim here on CNN that the president is part of a global sex trafficking ring? Or,
well,
I mean,
we're going to talk about the Epstein file. Scott, I will do the fact checking as we go along here. Repeat what you said about the global sex trafficking ring.
That Donald Trump was provably very involved with it.
Okay, we'll get to that later. I mean, Donald Trump has never been charged with any crimes in relation to Jeffrey Epstein. But
let's be adults
we'll talk about Epstein files later.
Serious.
Satisfied?
What are your thoughts here? Is this enough to get them sued? Because I'll show you what was said here. This was a retraction by this young moron, this soy milk toast sort of dude. He just put out this retraction. Parkland survivor Cameron Kasky retracts the entire statement saying that Trump was part of a global trafficking scheme. You can see his X post here. I would like to retract my comments for CNN last night. I truly apologize. Donald Trump was obviously not involved with the giant international trafficking ring where women and children were systemically, by elites. I said that by accident and didn't mean it. Said it by accident and didn't mean it. Tell me if this sounds like accident again. Okay. Tell me if this sounds like an accident whenever he says this. Let me know what you think. Is this an accident? It sounded very purposeful.
And he's basically playing Risk because people hurt his feelings or people ostensibly hurt his feelings. So I am appreciative that the president is being transparent about this. I would love it if he was more transparent about the human sex trafficking network that he was a part of, but you can't win them all.
Cameron's grateful that the president is.
Did that sound like he said accident? I'm gonna go not an accident for 1,000, Alex. I'm gonna go not 1,000 or not an accident for 1,000. That's what I'm gonna go with there. Wow. CNN could very well have dug themselves into a very big lawsuit with that move there. Just my opinion. I'm probably wrong. Somebody in the chat is probably much smarter than I am with this. Let me show you what else they're capable of. We're starting to see these games played by CNN, and it's so clear once you notice it, how they talk down to anyone and how they try to dominate them. Watch this.
We don't want pedophiles in our country. We want those people identified and we want those people punished.
Why are you not working with ICE to get rid of them?
Hold on a second.
No, but it's a fair question.
Hold on a second. Just let her. And you.
No, but you just said you want to get rid of them, but you don't work with ICE.
Let's let her make.
That is so true. She says she wants to get rid of the PDFs, but they don't work with ICE to get rid of it. Listen to what she says again. This is so good. They're such hypocrites.
We don't want pedophiles in our country. We want those people identified and we want those people punished.
Why are you not working with ICE to get rid of them?
Hold on a second.
Do not interrupt me. I'm your mom. Zip it, right? I mean, that's kind of where we're at. CNN has become the mom, the Karens. It seems like a global Karen network is what it looks like to me. Let's go here.
Confused because it appears the DHS message about ICE agents going after criminal illegal immigrants has now fallen on deaf ears. The protesters are still loud, violent, defiant. Their political leaders are still launching obscenities in hopes of stirring the pot. And the media still sees what it wants to see. After the shooting of Renee Good, the coverage of ICE on CBS, NBC, and ABC was 93% negative. Common sense knows the legacy media hates Trump and hates ICE, but 93% negative is not journalism. It's tribalism. It is group hate on steroids. And what truly baffles common sense is the very same liberals who are outraged and obsessed with Jeffrey Epstein and going after child sex predators are now impeding, interfering, and injuring law enforcement officers going after child sex predators. Have any of these protesters seen the thousands of illegal immigrants in this country accused of raping and sexually abusing children? Or is the liberal narrative so precious, so profound, and so protected that
it is a protection racket? It is all about these. I mean, if you go to this platform called Blue Sky, they actually promote minor attracted people. Minor attracted people where I live are called pedos. That's what they call them where I live, right? A couple of super chats rolling in here. Fun fact, Ilhan means ruler or leader of the homeland, Turkish origin. Thank you, KRO.
Let's go here.
KRO with the super.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Boom shakalaka.
And boom shakalaka.
Hi, Ben. Went to Arkansas 3 years ago to see Pastor Bob Joyce. Going again in March. Is that the guy that thinks he's Elvis? Is Bob Joyce the guy that tells everyone he's Elvis? Let me know. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate you.
How dare you?
How you dare you? 1111. Go Navy. Thank you, Nathan. Demon of Cybertron. The internet has made people think they're tougher than what they are. Most in the chat can snap that bearded twig larper. Let me get. That's a good one. That's a good comment right there.
Wake up, America.
Wake up, America. Thank you, Lawrence, $2. I appreciate you, Lawrence.
How dare you?
How dare you? Let's see. Handcuffs.
How dare you?
How dare you? Thank you so much. And we got new members that joined the channel today. Military Vet 6304 and Kenneth Marshall. Thank you very much. And then Jeff's been around for 21 months. Thank you, Jeff, for the long time support. If you're a veteran, if you are a veteran in the chat, a military member, or a law enforcement first responder, please post what you do for a living in the chat. I'd love to know what you do, where you do it. And I'd also like to know what gas prices are where you guys live at. Let's go right here and let's take some phone calls this morning. What do you guys think about what's happening with the Ilhan? What do you think about the Don Lemon? What do you think about somebody keeps text messaging me on this line, a bunch of garbage. What is this? I'll join as a member if you stop having me type. Look, if you want to join the channel as a member, feel free. If you don't, that's fine as well. Mad Maxine Waters. Yeah, somebody's her gynecologist too. So if you thought your day was bad, if you thought you had a bad day, let me show you something here real quick before you think that you had a bad day. Let's go right here. Someone, if just when you thought you had a shitty day, it's all about perspective. It's all about perspective. Sometimes you're the cheetah, sometimes you're the hippo, you know? It's all about perspective. Wherever you look and how you look at what you're seeing, it's always perspective. Let's go. Lines are open, 615-475-7864. We'll take a handful of calls this morning. Give me your opinion on the Ilhan Omar situation, Trump traveling to Davos, Greenland. Let's talk about the Clintons. Love to get your opinion on what's happening right now, because it seems like the times, they are a-changing. That's what I got to say about it. Let's see here. Thank you for your service in the chat. I'm married to a combat vet and work with neuro injuries. That's a great one. Great defense mechanism. Yeah, just shit on them, right? I'm glad I swallowed my coffee before I saw that clip. Thank you there, Randy. Let's go here. Omar for the wood chipper. Feet first. Feet first. Yeah, if you call in, turn down the audio in the background. If not, I will hang up on you. We will see if they know how this works. Talk to me. Line one. Nope. He didn't know how it works. Turn the audio down in the background. Florida trucker. I don't know what's going on there, but I'll be mean right off the bat. There we go. Waking up positive is a good thing. Absolutely. Waking up positive, but lots of positive energy with Ben early in the morning. It would be so easy for me to just wake up in a bad mood. It would be. And there's a lot of people that will wake up in a bad mood. People are furious that no one on the top ever seems to pay. I get it. You watch the Department of Justice, you watch Congress, it feels like nothing is ever happening. But you hear like hearings, leaks, cable news drama. That's what you kind of hear, right? But here's what I want you to hear clearly. The reason that everything feels slow, the reason that it feels slow is not because there's no justice coming. It's because when justice is not corrupt, it's methodical. It has to be airtight. The corrupt side rushes in. Corrupt justice is someone's arrested and the trial is tomorrow. Let's go here. Talk to me. Line one. What you got, line one? I never knew, and I've said this before, I never knew how much corruption was happening. I don't know if, I think if someone tells me they knew that there was this much corruption, I'm going to doubt them. I'm going to say, I think they were lying. That's just my opinion. What about you? Yeah, I agree.
Been corrupted, you know.
There are a lot of institutions that are corrupted right now. And like you were saying, it's beyond imagination of how many people are on the take. I believe that we have a lot of members of Congress, the Senate, the Attorney General, the governor, the mayor. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a big club, and we ain't in it.
Was that George Carlin that said that? Was that George Carlin?
It was.
George Carlin. Okay. Thank you very much for the call, sir. Appreciate you.
Yep.
George Carlin. Okay. I'm going to have to go back and see if I can find that. Let's see here. He just, okay. Perfect. Lines are open 615-475-7864. Feel free to get in. A lot of liars. Yeah. Yeah. You are not wrong on that either. Awesome shows, Ben. 6 cents.
How dare you?
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I get riled up. I get upset. There's a lot of people that, I would love to see arrested yesterday. I would love to see a lot of these people arrested 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 6 months ago, but it doesn't happen. Let's go line 2. What do you got, line 2? We're going to make our way down the switchboard.
Hi, Ben. How you doing this morning?
Amazing, sir. Talk to me.
As far as I'm concerned, the Clintons, Ilhan Omar, and the rest of the Democrats are all just shit.
And that's all you got?
No. I feel like they should all be put in prison, and I believe that it should all be military tribunals. I see no way around it.
You got any family that are Democrats?
Not that I know of.
Okay. But do you think that just anyone that is a registered Democrat should be arrested?
No. I'm talking the elites, the higher ups, the ones that are actually committing the crimes, the fraud, and all of that.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. I've asked this question before. How long does it take to rob a liquor store?
That's a good question. I don't have an answer for that.
Probably about a minute. Probably about a minute to rob a liquor store. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It probably takes 3 months to convene a jury, a judge, a prosecutor, a defense attorney with all the, appeals. That's just kind of what I think. Appreciate you calling. God bless you. We all want justice. We all want it next. We all want it today. We all want it yesterday. But I believe it takes time. It's the reason that they didn't convict Trump of anything, because they tried to do everything so quickly. Let's go here. Line 3. What you got, line 3?
Hey, how you doing this morning?
Good morning. Talk to me. You're on the lines.
I just wanted you to know that ICE is in Maine right now. They're not really receiving any resistance because I think all the paid people are not in the state right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're very happy here. There's numerous amounts of people that want Maine straightened out.
Why? I've got one question. The people that come from these southern borders, like down, they're below the equator, very hot environments. Somalia is a hot, just horrible hot country. Why do they go to the coldest parts of America? Why would you?
I don't know. It's 4 degrees right now.
I hope they all freeze. Thank you for calling. Appreciate you. I would never go to the coldest part of America if I wanted to sneak in. I would go to Hawaii. I'd be a homeless person in Hawaii. I would be a asylum seeker on the beach. That's what I would do. Just my opinion. But hey, that's you. Lines are open 615-475-7864. Love to get your take, what your thoughts are on this. But if I was an asylum seeker, I would not go to one of the coldest places in America. Minneapolis, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Montana. Why aren't there any Somalians in Montana? Or are there? Seattle, that's a cold, just miserable place. I lived there. Cold and miserable. Let's go right here. Talk to me. Line 4. Line 4.
Good morning, Ben.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, I think Trump and the whole team's doing awesome. I think it's going to unfold, and it's looking up. Everything's going good.
How do you, let me ask you this, because there's a lot of people that just get bogged down that they want to judge the entire Trump presidency on arrest. I think people fall into that trap.
It takes time, like you said. It takes time for the honest justice. It takes time, and they're doing awesome.
I got you. Well, listen, I appreciate you calling. You take care. Have a great afternoon. Great afternoon. I just believe there's so many people that want to just get bogged down. And I think it's a great method. If I was trying to sow dissent in the Republican Party, if I was trying to sow dissent into Americans, let's go here. Florida trucker. Thank you for turning down the audio in the background.
Good morning. Sorry, I hit the mute button and it didn't work. By that time you was gone. Quicker than my ex-wife does.
I'll hang up on anyone. I don't give a shit.
But I mean, that was quicker than my ex-wife hangs up on me.
What would you like to say?
Okay, Elon Omar, oh my God. What part of she's catching money off the Somalia's embezzlement and fraud rings? I mean, you can track here's how it goes. They donate to Act Blue. Act Blue in turn donates it right back to the politician.
Correct.
Who provides for their political agenda, right?
Correct.
Well, who knows what all they're doing when you donate back, they can keep a certain amount of that, if I'm not mistaken. Of their donations goes to them personally. So she's accepting in fraudulent money, basically coming from Somalians making the circle. They think they're washing it. Well, they're not washing it. They're just transferring it.
I appreciate you calling, Florida trucker. Thank you very much. Thank you for the call. I believe that is exactly what's happening. It is a vicious circle. It is a dirty, dirty Mogadishu Bangbroistan circle of what's happening. But back to what I was saying, if I wanted to sow dissent into Make America Great Again, into MAGA, if I was a Democrat and I wanted to disrupt MAGA, I would pick one member of Trump's cabinet and I would just ping on it. They tried it with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., didn't work. They tried it with Pete Hegseth, didn't work. They tried it with Tulsi Gabbard, didn't work. They tried it with Susie Wiles, didn't work. J.D. Vance, didn't work. Marco Rubio, didn't work. Scott Bessent. You can't badmouth Scott Bessent. He's gay. You can't go after him. He's gay. Can't go after RFK Jr. He's a Kennedy. Can't do it. Tulsi Gabbard's a woman, also military. Can't go after them. J.D. Vance is married to a minority. Can't do it. Well, they try. But he's heartland of America. You pick one cabinet member and you smear as much shit on them as possible. You highlight every negative thing. You highlight every infected hair, every eyelash, every fingernail that is chipped, cracked, out of place. And you ping on it. Just ding, 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 ding. 24/7. 24/7. Negative, 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 negative. And you just keep at it. That's how I would sow dissent in the Republican Party. That's how I would come after Trump and his organization, his cabinet. That's what I would do. Lines are open, 615-475-7864. Feel free to give me a call. I'd love to talk to you about it. Love to understand why this is the method that we're seeing being used right now. Because it damn sure seems like that is the method that everyone is using. Day one, they went after Pete Hegseth. It didn't work. Do you remember he was the first cabinet member? They were like, he was a drunk, whiskey leaks, because he has too many kids, because he's got tattoos. That was the first guy they went after. Susie Wiles. They twisted an interview. It's just the way it works. Let's go line 3. What do you got, line 3?
Hey, Ben, this is Jerry from Havelock, North Carolina.
Jerry in North Carolina. Talk to me, Jerry in North Carolina.
Yeah, about this arrest, a lot of people, I really don't think that they're thinking correctly. You don't start at the middle. You wait for the big people like Clinton's. Then you're going to start seeing more stuff unravel, which gives more evidence to add to the rest of the others.
People are forgetting that James Clapper and John Bolton have been indicted. And I guarantee you, John Bolton doesn't want to go to prison with that kind of mustache, because that kind of mustache in prison would be very attractive. That's just, that's a horrible sight for you to imagine. But I don't think John Bolton wants to go anywhere near a prison. Lines are open, 615-475-7864. Let me know what you're thinking. Love to pick your brain. Jerry in North Carolina, great point. Let's see here. You want to see what the end goal is? Do you want to see what the end goal is? Because I'll show you the end goal. Some of you aren't going to like it. Let's go right here. Okay? Right here's the end goal. This is what they want. Senate Leader Thune's refusal to pass the SAVE Act is going to cost Republicans the midterms and to result in the almost certain impeachment of Donald Trump. Look at the odds rising. Donald Trump impeachment chance, 60%. So if you want to keep on, keep on. Look at this. Trump's odds of being impeached again rise to, let's say, 60%. That's the ultimate goal. That is the end goal, because they will impeach Trump, they will impeach J.D. Vance, and the Democrat Party will ride in on a big tampon right back into the White House. It's not a fake poll. Cauchy it's part of Polymarket. If you say it's a fake poll, you've got your head in the ground and you just don't want to acknowledge it. You can say it's fake all you want. Cauchy is a huge organization, massive. You can talk yourself into whatever you want, but you're wrong. On this one, you're wrong. If you don't think the Democrat Party will impeach him day one, you're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. Line 4. What do you got, line 4?
Hey, brother, this is Jerry from Huntington.
Jerry in Huntington.
Typically midterms, it goes to the opposite party.
Sure.
Most of the time. But SCOTUS just did a change where redistricting was allowed, even though Democrats did it in all their states. Like, no Republican in Massachusetts will ever hit office.
No, absolutely not. No. You'll never see a Republican in Minnesota either. It's going to be impossible.
Well, it might happen because Minnesota at its core is a red state, even though they've voted for so long. But I think it's just because they've rigged it for so long.
Minnesota, the last time Minnesota went red for a president was Richard Nixon.
Well, it's been rigged since then.
Say what you want.
If you control the city, you control the state.
That's right.
Minnesota, just because their population density.
That's right.
But
That's
we're going
absolutely
to get about 19 seats with redistricting. So I don't think they will get their midterms. I think Cauchy's wrong.
I want to believe it's wrong, but I'm not going to sit back and relax and assume it's wrong. I am not going to assume it's wrong. I don't trust the rhinos. I don't.
Right, but see, in our state, I'm in West Virginia. In our state, on midterms, it's not a big popular thing, so only 30% of registered voters kick out. So
Absolutely.
if you got 15% retard voters, that could affect the whole state.
I'm at a point where we go back to the way the founding fathers set up voting. You were either a property owner, a business owner, or a member of the military. and those were the only people allowed to vote. I am that close. I am that freaking close.
Well, people with a stake in how the government is run. If you just can vote yourself money, we're doomed.
Because I think, and I know I've got a lot of women that watch, and this is not directed at women that watch my channel, but a lot of liberal women vote with their emotions and their hormones, and that's it. Thank you for calling, Jerry. Appreciate you. Huntington, West Virginia. Jason, this is what's happening in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Imagine what's happening other places. You're absolutely right. Trump's plane had problems. Yeah, I think it turned around, some kind of electronics. King of Biltong, all person to people transfers out of the country. Person to person money transfers outside of the country should be taxed at 40%. I agree with that. I completely agree with that. Let's go here. Line 5. Talk to me, line 5.
Good morning, Ben. This is Lisa from Greenwood.
Lisa, Greenwood.
I'm not the brightest crayon in the box.
I say that every time you call.
Where did they get these stems from? If they impeach Trump and this country falls apart, where are we going to go?
I'm telling you right now, we have to keep in my mind. I think of every day that they could impeach him every day, because I believe it only is going to take a handful of rhinos to do that. And we've got them right here in our state. Lisa, I appreciate you. God bless you. We've got them right here in our state. We've absolutely got them here. If you don't treat every day like they're going to impeach him, they will. That's just my thoughts. Just my thoughts. But that's the goal. That is the absolute goal. Prove me wrong. People forget. Yeah, they forget they actually shot the guy. Okay? They actually shot the guy. Their plan won't work. Hold up. Who said that? Their plan won't work. Did the plan work to get Obama in? Did the plan work to get Biden in? Okay. Keep thinking the plan won't work. Jeffrey said it. He absolutely said they would impeach Trump day one. I want you to remember this. This is what we need to remember right here. This is what I think of a lot. This is how happy we need to be that we've got the guy, and you better keep your foot on the pedal, because this guy's not around anymore. And I would say this guy helped Donald Trump get elected. Probably two people got Trump elected: Elon Musk and Charlie Kirk.
He is president of the United States.
I believe those are the two people responsible for getting Donald Trump elected, without a shadow of a doubt. You can tell me I'm wrong. You can lie to yourself. You can do whatever you want. But I believe that is who got Trump elected. Charlie Kirk, Elon Musk. You decide for yourself. Let's see here. Let's go right here. Let's take a handful of more calls real quick. Let's go here. Lines are open, 615-475-7864. Looks like Trump's about to speak here in a minute. We'll go there whenever he does. Lines are open, 615-475-7864. Feel free to call in. Love to get your opinion, input, output, questions, comments, whatever you want to talk about. Impeachment by the House means nothing. The Senate needs to hold a trial and 2/3 majority to remove. Those numbers are never going to happen. You keep thinking that. Go to bed at night thinking that. Go for it. Go for it. I am not that comfortable. Here's the reason I push back on that comment, Stu. How many members of the Senate do you trust? Do you trust Rand Paul? Do you trust Mitch McConnell? Do you trust Thune? Do you trust Murkowski? Do you trust John Kennedy? Tell me a member of the Senate you trust. Line 2. Go right ahead, line 2.
Hey, are we still talking about Ilhan Omar?
Absolutely. What would you like to talk about?
Man, who trained Ilhan Omar? You know, I think this is just the tip of the iceberg.
A lot of people have said that.
Go ahead.
A lot of people have said that this is the tip of the iceberg. I agree with you. Go ahead and finish your thought. I'm sorry about that.
No, I absolutely agree with them, Ben. You know, what's going on? Who are these people that are running our government? You know, our presidents are being swapped out every 4 years. It has to be Chuck Schumer or Jimmy Ratskin or Nancy Pelosi. Something's going on deeper in there. But that's all I had to say. I appreciate you letting me talk, man.
You bring up a solid point. They freak out the minute that you say Trump could run in 2028. And the people that freak out are the ones that have been in a Senate, that have been in the Senate for 40 years, right?
Yes, exactly. And they have this control where they have mobs of people. They can just make up stories and lies. Like that whole thing with Renee Good.
Mm-hmm.
That was such a clear case that she was obviously trying to hurt that officer. I don't understand why people don't see this.
Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you for calling, sir. I appreciate the time. Somebody said that they trust Senator John Kennedy. John Kennedy voted to send money to Ukraine. He also has avoided passing the SAVE Act. I've got to just go ahead and block this number. If you keep text messaging me during the show on this number, I'm going to go ahead and block you here. There you go. Block. Goodbye. I just don't have time to text message. I'm not a teenage girl during the show. Okay. Sorry. And I don't know who's under the 520 number, but I just don't. I'm sorry. I don't have time for it. Lines are open 615-475-7864. Call me mean. If you want to call me mean, I don't give a shit. Line 3. Go ahead, line 3.
Good morning, Ben.
Yes, sir.
Gary from New York.
Talk to me, Gary.
Well, 3 weeks ago, I ran across an interview with Gary Burnson and Ralph Pizzulo on the Laura Logan's channel, her YouTube channel.
I have no idea who they are, but go right ahead.
Look them up. He's a retired CIA officer, and he and a business partner from Venezuela started a whistleblower business to track down money laundering and, various ways to recover money. And they would get a percentage of it once the case was prosecuted.
Okay.
So that's where it started. He was working in Venezuela on a case, and he started
I feel
hearing
like this
tips.
is going to be a long story.
Well, it is. Just look up Gary Burnson, Ralph Pizzulo, and Smartmatic and Dominion. Basically, they built a source code, these engineers in Venezuela, for Hugo Chavez, because he was going to lose a recall election, and he had two criteria.
We've heard about this,
was,
Venezuela having the Smartmatic machines. We've heard this. Yeah.
Well, listen to the interviews with him. It's a pretty compelling story.
Okay. I got to let you go. I
Explains a lot.
can't do. I'm sure it does. It sounds like a very thorough and long documentary. I'm sure it's a great story. I'm sure it is. But I'm sorry. I wish I had time. I wish I had time. And everybody's going to say you're mean, but I just don't care anymore. Okay. We know Maduro was involved in this. Line 2. Go right ahead. Line 2.
I'm from Alabama.
Roll Tide.
And
Talk to me.
I think our country needs to be run like a military base. You have to have an ID to get in the country. We have to produce everything we use, and we need to be more competent in the things that we do and produce.
Let me ask you this. If you're driving down the road and you got pulled over and an ICE agent came up and said, I want to see your ID to verify you're in America, or you're an American, what would you do? Would you be upset?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Glad to hear it.
Uh-huh.
Roll Tide. Appreciate that. That's a Let's go. Told you we'd go here.
From America. Yesterday marked the one-year anniversary of my inauguration, and today, after 12 months back in the White House, our economy is booming, growth is exploding, productivity is surging, investment is soaring, incomes are rising, inflation has been defeated, our previously open and dangerous border is closed and virtually impenetrable. And the United States is in the midst of the fastest and most dramatic economic turnaround in our country's history. Under the Biden administration, America was plagued by the nightmare of stagflation, meaning low growth and high inflation, a recipe for misery, failure, and decline. But now, after just 1 year of my policies, we are witnessing the exact opposite. Virtually no nearly high economic growth like I believe you'll see very shortly our country has never seen before, perhaps no country has ever seen before. Over the past 3 months, core inflation has been just 1.6%. Meanwhile, fourth quarter growth is projected to be 5.4%, far greater than anybody other than myself and a few others had predicted. Since the election, the stock market has set 52 all-time high records. So that's in 1 year, 52 records, adding $9 trillion in value to retirement accounts, 401ks, and people's savings. People are doing very well. They're very happy with me. Since the election, the stock market has set 52 all-time high records. So that's in 1 year, 52 records, adding $9 trillion in value to retirement accounts, 401ks, and people's savings. People are doing very well. They're very happy with me. Since my inauguration, we've lifted more than 1.2 million people off of food stamps, and after 4 years, in which Biden secured less than $1 trillion of new investment in our country. Think of that, 1 trillion, substantially less than that. In 4 years, we've secured commitments for a record-breaking $18 trillion, and we think when the final numbers come out, they'll be closer to $20 trillion of investment. That's never been done by any country at any time, not even close. Just over 1 year ago, under the radical left Democrats, we were a dead country. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. In fact, the United States economy is on pace to grow at double the rate that was projected by the IMF just last April. And with my growth and tariff policies, it should be much higher. I really believe we can be much higher than that. And this is all great news, and it's great for all nations. The USA is the economic engine on the planet. And when America booms, the entire world booms. It's been the history. When it goes bad, it goes bad. You all follow us down and you follow us up. And we're at a point that I don't believe we've ever been. I never thought we could do it this quickly. My biggest surprise is I thought it would take more than a year, maybe like a year and 1 month. But it's happened very quickly. This afternoon, I want to discuss how we've achieved this economic miracle, how we intend to raise living standards for our citizens to levels never seen before, and perhaps how you too and the places where you come from can do much better by following what we're doing, because certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. They're not recognizable. And we can argue about it, but there's no argument. Friends come back from different places. I don't want to insult anybody and say, I don't recognize it. And that's not in a positive way. That's in a very negative way. And I love Europe, and I want to see Europe go good, but it's not heading in the right direction. In recent decades, it became conventional wisdom in Washington and European capitals that the only way to grow a modern Western economy was through ever-increasing government spending, unchecked mass migration, and endless foreign imports. The consensus was everything that makes nations rich and powerful and strong, and there's so much potential in so many nations. The result was record budget and trade deficits and a growing sovereign deficit driven by the largest wave of mass migration in human history. We've never seen anything like it. Quite frankly, many parts of our world are being destroyed before our very eyes, and the leaders don't even understand what's happening. And the ones that do understand aren't doing anything about it. Virtually all of the so-called experts predicted my plans to end this failed model would trigger a global recession and runaway inflation. But we have proven them wrong. It's actually just the opposite. In 1 year, our agenda has produced a transformation like America has not seen in over 100 years. Instead of closing down energy plants, we're opening them up. Instead of building ineffective, money-losing windmills, we're taking them down and not approving any. Instead of empowering bureaucrats, we're firing them, and they're going out and getting jobs in the private sector for 2 and 3 times what they were making in government. So they started off hating me when we fired them, and now they love me. Instead of raising taxes on domestic producers, we're lowering them and raising tariffs on foreign nations to pay for the damage that they've caused. In 12 months, we have removed over 270,000 bureaucrats from the federal payrolls, the largest single-year reduction in government employment since the end of World War II. Nobody thought that was coming, but we had no choice. To make a country great, you can't have all federal jobs. We've cut federal spending by $100 billion and slashed the federal budget deficit by 27% in the single year. It's going to go down quite a bit more from that, driving inflation way down from the record highs of the Biden administration. Every month, they went up and up and up. I promised to cut 10 old regulations for every single new regulation, but instead I've cut, actually till this point, 129 regulations for every 1 new regulation approved. So every time they come in with a new regulation, we do at least 10, but so far it's averaging out to 129, if you can believe it. In July, we passed the largest tax cuts in American history, including no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. We also provided 100% expensing. That's the one they like. And bonus depreciation for all new equipment and capital investments to help companies expand and shift production to America. They are so in love with that. They build a plant, they're able to deduct it immediately, the whole thing, rather than waiting 38 to 41 years in the old days. This is a miracle taking place. Nobody thought it would ever be done by any country, but it's done by us. It was what made my first term the most successful 4-year term that we've ever had from a financial standpoint. And now we've upped it. This is a 10-year program, not a 1-year program, but you're allowed to deduct everything in 1 year. It used to be 38 to 41 years. With tariffs, we've radically reduced our ballooning trade deficit, which was the largest in world history. We were losing more than $1 trillion every single year, and it was just wasted. was going to waste. But in 1 year, I slashed our monthly trade deficit by a staggering 77%. And all of this with no inflation, something everyone said could not be done. There were a couple of brilliant people that actually thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was doing the right thing. Now they all think I'm doing the right thing because they can't believe the numbers. American exports are now up by more than $150 billion. Domestic steel production is up by 300,000 tons a month, and it's doubling over the next 4 months. It's doubling and tripling, and we have steel plants being built all over the country. Nobody thought they'd see that. Factory construction is up by 41%, and that number is really going to skyrocket right now because that's during a process that they're putting in to get their approvals, and we've given very, very quick, fast approvals. In the process, we've made historic trade deals with partners covering 40% of all U.S. trade. Some of the greatest companies and countries in the world. We have countries as our partner, too. The European nations, Japan, South Korea. They're our partners. They've gone into massive deals with us, especially on oil and gas. And these agreements raise growth and cause stock markets to boom, not only in the U.S., but virtually every country that came to make a deal, because as you've learned, when the United States goes up, you follow. It's really become a staple. In America, I've stopped the nation-wrecking energy policies that drive up prices while sending jobs and factories to the world's worst polluters. They are indeed polluters. Under Sleepy Joe Biden, new domestic oil and gas leases fell by 95%. Think of that. And they wonder, why was gasoline going up so fast? The gasoline actually topped $5 a gallon, and some places $7 a gallon, and more than 100 major power plants were violently shut down by incompetent people that had no idea what the hell they were doing. Under my leadership, U.S. natural gas production is at an all-time high by far. U.S. oil production is up by 730,000 barrels a day, and last week we picked up 50 million barrels from Venezuela alone. Venezuela has been an amazing place for so many years, but then they went bad with their policies. 20 years ago, it was a great country, and now it's got problems, but we're helping them. And those 50 million barrels, we're going to be splitting up with them, and they'll be making more money than they've made in a long time. Venezuela is going to do fantastically well. We appreciate all of the cooperation we've been giving. We've been giving great cooperation. Once the attack ended, and they said, let's make a deal. More people should do that. But Venezuela is going to make more money in the next 6 months than they've made in the last 20 years. Every major oil company is coming in with us. It's amazing. It's a beautiful thing to see. The leadership of the country has been very good. They've been very, very smart. The price of gasoline is now below $2.50 a gallon in many states, $2.30 a gallon in most states. Then we'll soon be averaging less than $2 a gallon. In many places, it's already down even lower, $1.95 a gallon. Numerous states are at $1.99, numbers that nobody has heard for years. Actually, since my last administration, we got it down to around those numbers. I've signed an order directing and approval of many new nuclear reactors. We're going heavy into nuclear. I was not a big fan because I didn't like the risk, the danger. But they have the progress they've made with nuclear is unbelievable, and the safety progress they've made is incredible. We're very much into the world of nuclear energy, and we can have it now at good prices and very, very safe. And we're leading the world in AI by a lot. We're leading China by a lot. I think President Xi respects what we've done, in part because I've allowed these big companies building these massive buildings to build their own electric capacity. They're building their own power plants. which when added up is more than any country anywhere in the world is doing. I read recently an article in the Wall Street Journal that China's creating so much energy, and they are. I got to hand it to them. But we're creating as much or more, and we're letting them do that. I'm very proud of it. It was my idea. I said, you can't create this much energy. We needed more than double the energy currently in the country just to take care of the AI plants. And I said, we can't do that. We have an old grid system. And I came up with the idea, you know, you people are brilliant. You have a lot of money. Let's see what you can do. You can build your own electric generating plants. And they looked at me. They didn't believe me. All of the names that are, I think, in the room right now, if you want to know the truth, they didn't believe it. And I said, no, you can't. They came back 2 weeks and they didn't have the plant. They said, we thought you were kidding. I said, no, not only am I not kidding, you're going to have your approvals within 2 weeks. I always say nuclear will take 3 weeks, but most aren't going that. They're going oil and gas. They're even going coal in some cases. Because of my landslide election victory, the United States avoided the catastrophic energy collapse, which befell every European nation that pursued the Green New Scam, perhaps the greatest hoax in history. The Green New Scam, windmills all over the place, destroy your land. Destroy your land. Every time that goes around, you lose $1,000. You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. Here in Europe, we've seen the fate that the radical left tried to impose on America. They tried very hard. Germany now generates 22% less electricity than it did in 2017. And it's not the current chancellor's fault. He's solving the problem. He's going to do a great job. But what they did before he got there, I guess that's why he got there. And electricity prices are 64% higher. The United Kingdom produces just 1/3 of the total energy from all sources that it did in 1999. Think of that, 1/3. And they're sitting on top of the North Sea, one of the greatest reserves anywhere in the world, but they don't use it. And that's one reason why their energy has reached catastrophically low levels with equally high prices. High prices, very low levels. Think of that, 1/3. And you're sitting on top of the North Sea. And they like to say, well, you know, that's depleted. It's not depleted. It's got 500 years. They haven't even found the oil. The North Sea is incredible. They don't let anybody drill. Environmentally, they don't let them drill. They make it impossible for the oil companies to go. They take 92% of the revenues. So the oil companies say, we can't do it. They came to see me. Is there anything you can do? I want Europe to do great. I want UK to do great. They're sitting on one of the greatest energy sources in the world, and they don't use it. In fact, their electricity prices have soared 139%. There are windmills all over Europe. There are windmills all over the place, and they are losers. One thing I've noticed is that the more windmills a country has, the more money that country loses and the worse that country is doing. China makes almost all of the windmills, and yet I haven't been able to find any wind farms in China. Did you ever think of that? It's a good way of looking at it. They're smart. China is very smart. They make them, they sell them for a fortune. They sell them to the stupid people that buy them, but they don't use them themselves. They put up a couple of big wind farms, but they don't use them. They just put them up to show people what they could look like. They don't spin. They don't do anything. They use a thing called coal mostly. But China goes with the coal. They go with oil and gas. They're starting to look at nuclear a little bit, and they're doing just fine. They make a fortune selling the windmills, though, and I think really that's one that they wouldn't be surprised if it stopped. They are shocked that it continues to go. They're very friendly with me. They're shocked that people continue to buy those damn things. They killed the birds. They ruin your landscapes. Other than that, I think they're fabulous, by the way. Stupid people buy them. The consequences of such destructive policies have been stark, including lower economic growth, lower standards of living, lower birth rates, more socially disruptive migration, more vulnerability to hostile foreign adversaries, and much, much smaller militaries. The United States cares greatly about the people of Europe. We really do. I mean, look, I am derived from Europe, Scotland and Germany. 100% Scotland, my mother, 100% German, my father. And we believe deeply in the bonds we share with Europe as a civilization. I want to see it do great. That's why issues like energy, trade, immigration, and economic growth must be central concerns to anyone who wants to see a strong and united West, because Europe and those countries have to do their thing. They have to get out of the culture that they've created over the last 10 years. It's horrible what they're doing to themselves. They're destroying themselves. It's beautiful, beautiful places. We want strong allies, not seriously weakened ones. We want Europe to be strong. Ultimately, these are matters of national security, and perhaps no current issue makes the situation more clear than what's currently going on with Greenland. Would you like me to say a few words of Greenland? I was going to leave it out of the speech, but I think I would have been reviewed very negatively. I have tremendous respect for both the people of Greenland and the people of Denmark, tremendous respect. But every NATO ally has an obligation to be able to defend their own territory. And the fact is, no nation or group of nations is in any position to be able to secure Greenland other than the United States. We're a great power, much greater than people even understand. I think they found that out 2 weeks ago in Venezuela. We saw this in World War II, when Denmark fell to Germany after just 6 hours of fighting and was totally unable to defend either itself or Greenland. So the United States was then compelled, we did it, we felt an obligation to do it, to send our own forces to hold the Greenland territory, and hold it we did at great cost and expense. They didn't have a chance of getting on it, and they tried. Denmark knows that. We literally set up bases on Greenland for Denmark. We fought for Denmark. We weren't fighting for anyone else. We were fighting to save it for Denmark. Big, beautiful piece of ice. It's hard to call it land. It's a big piece of ice. But we saved Greenland and successfully prevented our enemies from gaining a foothold in our hemisphere. So we did it for ourselves also. And then after the war, which we won it big. Without us, right now, you'd all be speaking German and a little Japanese, perhaps. After the war, we gave Greenland back to Denmark. How stupid were we to do that? But we did it. But we gave it back. But how ungrateful are they now? So now our country and the world face much greater risks than it did ever before because of missiles, because of nuclear, because of weapons of warfare that I can't even talk about. 2 weeks ago, they saw weapons that nobody ever heard of. They weren't able to fire one shot at us. They said, what happened? Everything was discombobulated. They said, we've got them in our sights. Press the trigger, and nothing happened. No anti-aircraft missiles went up. There was one that went up about 30 feet and crashed down right next to the people that sent it. They said, what the hell is going on? Those defensive systems were made by Russia and by China. So they're going to go back to the drawing boards, I guess. Greenland is a vast, almost entirely uninhabited and undeveloped territory. It's sitting undefended in a key strategic location between the United States, Russia, and China. That's exactly where it is, right smack in the middle. Wasn't important nearly when we gave it back. You know, when we gave it back, it wasn't the same as it is now. It's not important for any other reason, you know, everyone talks about the minerals. There's so many places. There's no rare earth, no such thing as rare earth. There's rare processing. but there's so much rare earth. And to get to this rare earth, you got to go through hundreds of feet of ice. That's not the reason we need it. We need it for strategic national security and international security. This enormous unsecured island is actually part of North America, on the northern frontier of the Western Hemisphere. That's our territory. It is therefore a core national security interest of the United States of America. And in fact, it's been our policy for hundreds of years to prevent outside threats from entering our hemisphere, and we've done it very successfully. We've never been stronger than we are now. That's why American presidents have sought to purchase Greenland for nearly 2 centuries. You know, for 2 centuries, they've been trying to do it. They should have kept it after World War II, but they had a different president. That's all right. People think differently. Much more necessary now than it was at that time, however. In 2019, Denmark said that they would spend over $200 million to strengthen Greenland's defenses. But as you know, they spent less than 1% of that amount. 1%. There's no sign of Denmark there. And I say that with great respect for Denmark, whose people I love, whose leaders are very good. It's the United States alone that can protect this giant mass of land, this giant piece of ice, develop it and improve it and make it so that it's good for Europe and safe for Europe and good for us. And that's the reason I'm seeking immediate negotiations to once again discuss the acquisition of Greenland by the United States, just as we have acquired many other territories throughout our history, as many of the European nations have. They've acquired, there's nothing wrong with it. Many of them, some went in reverse, actually, if you look. Some had great, vast wealth, great, vast lands all over the world. They went in reverse. They're stuck back where they started. That happens too. But some grow. But this would not be a threat to NATO. This would greatly enhance the security of the entire alliance, the NATO alliance. The United States is treated very unfairly by NATO. I want to tell you that. And when you think about it, nobody can dispute it. We give so much and we get so little in return. And I've been a critic of NATO for many years. And yet I've done more to help NATO than any other president by far, than any other person. You wouldn't have NATO if I didn't get involved in my first term. The war with Ukraine is an example. We are thousands of miles away, separated by a giant ocean. It's a war that should have never started, and it wouldn't have started if the 2020 U.S. presidential election weren't rigged. It was a rigged election. Everybody now knows that. They found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did. It's probably breaking news, but it should be. It was a rigged election. Can't have rigged elections. You need strong borders, strong elections, and ideally a good press. I always say it. Strong borders, strong elections, free, fair elections, and a fair media. The media is terrible. It's very crooked. It's very biased, terrible. But someday it'll straighten out because it's losing all credibility. Think of it. When I went in a landslide, a giant landslide, won all 7 swing states, won the popular vote, won everything, and I only get negative press. That means that it has no credibility. And if they're going to get credibility, they're going to have to be fair. So you need a fair press. But you also need those other elements. And I inherited a terrible, terrible situation. If you look, the border was open. The inflation was raging. Everything was bad with the United States when I came into office. But I also inherited a mess with Ukraine and Russia, something that would have never happened. And I know Putin very well. He and I would discuss Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye, but he wasn't going to do anything. I said, Vladimir, you're not doing it. He would never have done it. It was terrible what happened. I could see it happening, too. After I left, I could see it happening. Biden had given Ukraine and NATO $350 billion, a staggering sum, $350 billion. I came in, and just like the southern border, just like inflation, just like our economy, I said, wow, This place is in trouble, meaning our country. All of these things were out of control. But the border was out of control. We fixed it with the strongest border anywhere in the world. And I've now been working on this war for 1 year, during which time I settled 8 other wars. India, Pakistan. I settled other wars that were Vladimir Putin called me, Armenia, Azerbaijan. He said, I can't believe you settled that one. They were going on for 35 years. I settled it in 1 day. And President Putin called me. He said, you know, I can't believe I worked on that war for 10 years trying to settle it. I couldn't do it. I said, do me a favor, focus on settling your war. Don't worry about that one. What does the United States get out of all of this work, all of this money, other than death, destruction, and massive amounts of cash going to people who don't appreciate what we do? They don't appreciate what we do. Talking about NATO, I'm talking about Europe. They have to work on Ukraine. We don't. The United States is very far away. We have a big, beautiful ocean separating us. We have nothing to do with it. Until I came along, NATO was only supposed to pay 2% of GDP, but they weren't paying. Most of the countries weren't paying anything. The United States was paying for virtually 100% of NATO. And I got that stopped. I said, that's not fair. But then more importantly, I got NATO to pay 5%, and now they were paying, and now they are paying. So something nobody said was possible. They said, we will never go up higher than 2%. But they went to 5%, and now they're paying the 5. They didn't pay the 2, and now they're paying the 5. And they're stronger for it, and they have an excellent, by the way, Secretary General, who's possibly in the room. Mark, are you here? Yes, he's here. Hello, Mark. We never asked for anything, and we never got anything. We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force, where we would be, frankly, unstoppable. But I won't do that. Okay? Now everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the biggest statement I made, because people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force. All the United States is asking for is a place called Greenland, where we already had it as a trustee, but respectfully returned it back to Denmark not long ago after we defeated the Germans, the Japanese, the Italians, and others in World War II. We gave it back to them. We were a powerful force then, but we are a much more powerful force now. After I rebuilt the military in my first term and continue to do so today, we have a budget of $1.5 trillion. We're bringing back battleships. Battleship is 100 times more powerful than the great battleships you saw in World War II, those great, big, gorgeous ships, the Missouri, the Iowa, the Alabama. Because I thought maybe we could take them out of mothballs. They said, no, sir, these ships are 100, think of that, 100 times more powerful than those big, magnificent pieces of art that you saw so many times ago, that you still see on television. You say, wow, what a force. 100 times, each ship 100 times more powerful than the big battleships of the past. So that was the end of the mothball story. So what we have gotten out of NATO is nothing except to protect Europe from the Soviet Union and now Russia. I mean, we've helped them for so many years. We've never gotten anything, except we pay for NATO. And we paid for many years until I came along. We paid for, in my opinion, 100% of NATO because they weren't paying their bills. And all we're asking for is to get Greenland, including right title and ownership, because you need the ownership to defend it. You can't defend it on a lease. Number one, legally, it's not defensible that way, totally. And number two, psychologically, who the hell wants to defend a license agreement or a lease, which is a large piece of ice in the middle of the ocean where if there is a war, much of the action will take place on that piece of ice. Think of it. those missiles would be flying right over the center of that piece of ice. All we want from Denmark for national and international security and to keep our very energetic and dangerous potential enemies at bay is this land on which we're going to build the greatest golden dome ever built. We're building a golden dome that's going to, just by its very nature, going to be defending Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your Prime Minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements. What we did for Israel was amazing, but that's nothing compared to what we have planned for the United States, Canada, and the rest of the world. We are going to build a dome like no other. We did it for Israel. And by the way, I told Bibi, stop taking credit for the dome. That's our technology. That's our stuff. But they had a lot of courage, and they were good fighters, and they did a good job, and we wiped out the Iran nuclear threat like nobody can believe. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. That, Venezuela, taking down Soleimani, wiping out al-Baghdadi when he tried to reinstitute ISIS. We did a lot. I did a lot of big things, all perfectly executed. Everyone was perfectly executed. Somebody told me that, a military expert told me, sir, everything you've done has been perfectly executed. I said, I know. So other presidents have spent, whether foolishly or not, trillions and trillions of dollars on NATO and gotten absolutely nothing in return. We've never asked for anything. It's always a one-way street. Now they want us to help them with Ukraine. And let me say, we're going to. I'm really helping, not even them. I want to see, last week, if you saw, it was 10,000 soldiers, but last month it was 31,000 soldiers died. 31,000. That's this room times, the number of people in this room times 30. Think of it. 30,000 soldiers died in 1 month. The month before it was 27,000. The month before that it was 28,000. The month before that it was 25,000. It's a bloodbath over there. And that's what I want to stop. It doesn't help the United States, but these are souls. These are young people. Look like you, look like some of you right in the front row. They go to war. Their parents are so proud. Oh, there he goes, comes back. 2 weeks later, they get a call, your son's head's been blown off. I want to stop it. It's a horrible war. It's the worst since World War II. They keep going, they'll exceed World War II. The numbers are staggering, how many people they've lost. They don't want to talk about it. Ukraine and Russia lost just tremendous amounts. And I'm dealing with President Putin, and he wants to make a deal, I believe. I'm dealing with President Zelensky, and I think he wants to make a deal. I'm meeting him today. He might be in the audience right now. But they got to get that war stopped because too many people are dying, needlessly dying. Too many souls are being lost. It's the only reason I'm interested in doing it. But in doing it, I'm helping Europe, I'm helping NATO, and I've until the last few days when I told them about Iceland, they loved me. They called me daddy, right, last time. Very smart man said, he's our daddy. He's running it. I was like running it. I went from running it to being a terrible human being. But now what I'm asking for is a piece of ice, cold and poorly located, that can play a vital role in world peace and world protection. It's a very small ask compared to what we have given them for many, many decades. But the problem with NATO is that we'll be there for them 100%. But I'm not sure that they'd be there for us if we gave them the call. Gentlemen, we are being attacked. We're under attack by such and such a nation. I know them all very well. I'm not sure that they'd be there. I know we'd be there for them. I don't know that they'd be there for us. So with all of the money we expend, with all of the blood, sweat, and tears, I don't know that they'd be there for us. They're not there for us on Iceland, that I can tell you. I mean, our stock market took the first dip yesterday because of Iceland. So Iceland's already cost us a lot of money. But that dip is peanuts compared to what it's gone up. And we have an unbelievable future in that stock. That stock market is going to be doubled. We're going to hit 50,000 and that stock market's going to double in a relatively short period of time because of everything that's happening. But this is a good example. After giving NATO and European nations trillions and trillions of dollars in defense, they buy our weapons. We make the greatest weapons in the world, but now we're going to make them faster, much faster. You saw that. I put a cap on the salaries, and I put no buybacks, no stock buybacks, no various other things that they were doing. I mean, they were making $50 million, but it would take them 3 years to give you a Patriot missile. I said, that's not good. My chauffeur can do a better job than that, and he makes slightly less than 50. They make big salaries. If they're going to make those big salaries, they're going to have to produce a lot faster. The good news is we have the greatest equipment in the world. Now we're going to start making it a lot faster. They're going to build additional plants. And all of the money that goes into stock buybacks is going to go into building plants. We're not allowing stock buybacks by defense companies any longer. They're going to build new plants to make Tomahawks, Patriots. We have the best equipment, F-35s. F-47, the new one just coming out. They say it's the most devastating plane, fighter jet ever. Who knows? They called it 47. If I don't like it, I'm going to take the 47 off it. I wonder why they called it 47. We'll have to think about that. But if I don't like it, I'm going to take that 47 off. But it's supposed to be the stage 6. It's supposed to be the first stage 6 plane, undetectable, like our B-2 bombers were undetectable. They flew right over Iran. They were undetectable. And they did their job, and they got the hell out of there. So we want a piece of ice for world protection, and they won't give it. We've never asked for anything else, and we could have kept that piece of land, and we didn't. So they have a choice. You can say yes, and we will be very appreciative, or you can say no, and we will remember. A strong and secure America means a strong NATO. And that's one reason why I'm working every day to ensure our military is very powerful. Our borders are very strong. And above all, our economy is strong because national security requires economic security and economic prosperity. And we have the greatest that we've ever had. Biden and his allies destroyed our economy and gave us perhaps the worst inflation in American history. They say 48 years, I say forever, but I think 48 years is the equivalent to forever. Whether it's 48 years or ever, it's terrible, costing the typical family $33,000. What they did to this country should never, ever be forgotten. It's early. But he has to be rated as the worst president we've ever had by far. The auto pen did much of the damage. The auto pen, he was the auto pen president. Because I don't believe a sane president would have ever signed the kind of things that he signed. But now grocery prices, energy prices, airfares, mortgage rates, rent, and car payments are all coming down, and they're coming down fast. We inherited a mess. But we've done a hell of a job in 12 months. Under my most favored nation policy for drug prices, the cost of prescription drugs is coming down by up to 90%, depending on the way you calculate. You could also say 5, 6, 7, 800%. There are two ways of figuring that. But we have a favored nations policy that every president wanted, no president was able to get. I got it, and other nations approved it. And I had to use tariffs in order to get it, because they said, no way. In other words, a pill that costs 10% in London costs $130. Think it costs $10 in London, costs $130 in New York or in Los Angeles. And I'd say, boy, that's bad. Friends of mine would say, you know, we go to London, you can buy the stuff for nothing. We go all over the world, we can buy it for nothing. Because basically America was subsidizing every nation in the world. because presidents allowed them to get away with it. It became very tough. So when I called up Emmanuel Macron, I watched him yesterday with those beautiful sunglasses. What the hell happened? But I watched him sort of be tough. But he was at $10 for a pill. And I said, Emmanuel, and I have all the big pharmaceutical companies are in total agreement. It wasn't easy, by the way. They're tough, smart. They've been getting away with this scam for a long time. But they gave it up. But they said, you'll never get the countries to approve it. I said, why is that? Because they won't. They always said, we're not paying any more. Get the rest for the United States. So over the years, they stayed the same. We just went up, up, up. And I mean, we would pay 13, 14, 15 times more than certain countries would. So I said, no, they'll approve it 100%. Sir, you'll never get them to approve it. I said, I guarantee you. But I actually started with Emmanuel, who probably is in the room too. And I like him. I actually like him. Hard to believe, isn't it? And I said, Emmanuel, you're going to have to lift the price of that pill to $20, maybe $30. Think of that. That means it's a doubling of prescription drugs. Might be a tripling, might be a quadrupling. It's not easy. No, 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 Donald, I will not do that. I said, yes, you will, 100%. He said, no, no, no. You're asking me to double. I said, Emmanuel, you've been taking advantage of the United States for 30 years with prescription drugs. You really should do it, and you will do it. I have no doubt. In fact, I am 100% sure you're going to. No, 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 I will not do it. Because yes, in all fairness, he has to double or triple. Because the world being a bigger place than the United States, it's not that you meet in the middle. You just have to go up some, and we come down a lot. They go up a little, we come down a lot. So we're at $130. They're at 10. So they may have to go to 20 or 30. No more than that. I said, Emmanuel, you're going to be doubling or tripling? No, no, no. I said, here's the story, Emmanuel. The answer is you're going to do it. You're going to do it fast. And if you don't, I'm putting a 25% tariff on everything that you sell into the United States and a 100% tariff on your wines and champagnes. And that's about 10 times more than what I'm requesting. And you're going to do it. I don't want to go public with it, but you may make me do that. No, no, Donald, I will do it. I will do it. It took me, on average, 3 minutes a country saying the same thing. You will do it. They all said, no, 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 I will not do it. You're asking me to double the cost of prescription. I said, that's right, because you've been screwing us for 30 years. And they said, we will not do it. I said, that's all right. On Monday morning, we're putting a 25, 30, 50. I gave different numbers for different countries. This is also national security we're talking about. Not fair. We're not going to subsidize the whole world. And every one of those countries have agreed to do it. So one of the biggest things that I've done is the fact that we have now most favored nation. We will pay whatever the lowest price is in the entire world. So our drug prices are going to be coming down by staggering 90%. Again, you could say 1,000%, 2,000%. Depends on the way you want to figure it, but we'll go with the way the fake news likes it better because it sounds, can you imagine a 90% reduction sounds much worse. But drug prices are going to be coming down tremendously in all the nations, and I appreciate them doing it, but they did it. In all fairness, without tariffs, I wouldn't have been able to get it done. After declining $3,000 under Biden, real incomes are up in the United States by $2,000, $3,000, and even $5,000 and more. Home ownership has always been a symbol of health and vigor of American society, but that goal fell out of reach for millions and millions of people in the Biden era because interest rates went up so high. Today, I'm taking action to bring back this bedrock of the American dream. In recent years, Wall Street giants and institutional investment firms, many of you are here, many of you are good friends of mine, many of you are supporters. Sorry to do this to you, I'm so sorry. But you've driven up housing prices by purchasing hundreds of thousands of single-family homes, and it's been a great investment for them. often as much as 10% of houses on the market. You know, the crazy thing is a person can't get depreciation on a house, but when a corporation buys it, they get depreciation. Okay, that's something we're going to have to think about too. I don't know if too many people think about that. You buy a corporation, they buy 500 houses, they buy hundreds of thousands, they buy 500 houses, they can take depreciation. A person sweats and works and buys one house, they can't. But homes are built for people, not for corporations, and America will not become a nation of renters. We're not going to do that. That's why I have signed an executive order banning large institutional investors from buying single-family homes. It's just not fair to the public. They're not able to buy a house. And I'm calling on Congress to pass that ban into permanent law, and I think they will. One of the biggest barriers to saving for a down payment has been surging credit card debt. The profit margin for credit card companies now exceeds 50%, one of the biggest. And they charge Americans interest rates of 28%, 30%, 31%, 32%. Whatever happened to usury? So to help our citizens recover from the Biden disaster, all caused by this horrible precedent, just horrible precedent, I'm asking Congress to cap credit card interest rates at 10% for 1 year. And this will help millions of Americans save for a home. They have no idea they're paying 28%. They go out there a little late in their payment and they end up losing their house. It's terrible. To unleash innovation in savings and financing, I'm also working to ensure America remains the crypto capital of the world. And to that end, last year, I signed the landmark Genius Act into law. Now Congress is working very hard on crypto market structure legislation, Bitcoin, all of them, which I hope to sign very soon, unlocking new pathways for Americans to reach financial freedom. And I did it for two reasons. Number one, I thought it was politically good, and it was. I got tremendous political support. But more importantly, China wanted that market too. It's just like they want the AI. And we've got that market, I think, pretty well locked up. If I didn't do it, you know, Biden was totally against it until before the election when they realized that, you know, there were millions of people voting against him over crypto. And all of a sudden they loved it very much, but it was too late. They blew it. But it is politically popular, but it's much more importantly, we have to make it so that China doesn't get the hold of it. And once they have that hold, we're not going to be able to get it back. So I'm honored to have done it. Finally, I've instructed government-backed institutions to purchase up to $200 billion in mortgage bonds to bring down interest rates. And I'll be announcing a new Fed chairman in the not too distant future. I think he'll do a very good job. See, I gave away some of it. He did give that away. So we have something, got something, but somebody that's very respected. They're all respected. They're all great. Everyone that I interviewed is great. Everyone could do, I think, a fantastic job. Problem is they change once they get the job. They do. You know, they're saying everything I want to hear, and then they get the job. They're locked in for 6 years. They get the job, and all of a sudden, let's raise rates a little bit. I call them, sir, we'd rather not talk about this. It's amazing how people change once they have the job. It's too bad. Sort of disloyalty, but they got to do what they think is right. We have a terrible chairman right now, Jerome Too Late Powell. He's always too late. And he's very late with interest rates, except before the election. He was just fine for the other side. So we're going to have somebody that's great, and we hope he does the right job. Last week, the average 30-year mortgage rate dropped below 6% for the first time in many years. Another major factor in driving up housing costs was the mass invasion of our borders. And I have to say one thing about housing, because nobody ever says this. I am very protective of people that already own a house, of which we have millions and millions and millions. And because we have had such a good run, the house values have gone up tremendously. And these people have become wealthy. They weren't wealthy. They become wealthy because of their house. And every time you make it more and more and more affordable for somebody to buy a house cheaply, you're actually hurting the value of those houses, obviously, because the one thing works in tandem with the other. And I don't want to do anything that's going to hurt the value of people that own a house who, for the first time in their lives, are walking around the streets of whatever city they're in, very proud that their house is worth $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. Now, if I want to really crush the housing market, I could do that so fast and people could buy houses, but you would destroy a lot of people that already have houses. In some cases, they've mortgaged their house, and the mortgage would be very low. And all of a sudden, the mortgage without any changes becomes very high, and they end up losing the house. I'm not going to hurt, and I speak with Scott, who's doing a fantastic job, and Howard, who's doing a fantastic job, and all of my people. And I always say, look, you know, I can crush the hell out of the market. We can drop interest rates to a level, and that's one thing we do want to do. That's natural. That's good for everybody. You know, the dropping of the interest rates, we should be paying a much lower interest rate than we are. We should be paying the lowest interest rate of any country in the world, because without the United States, you don't have a country. I mean, I had a case with Switzerland. We happened to be in Switzerland. Maybe I'll give you a quick story. But they were paying nothing. They make beautiful watches, great watches, Rolex, all of them. They were paying nothing to the United States when they sent their product in. And we had a $41 billion deficit, $41 billion with this beautiful place. Flew over it, isn't it nice? So I said, let's put a 30% tariff on them so that we get back some of it, not all of it at all. We'd still have a deficit, big deficit. We had 41 million. That's a big thing, and most of you realize that. But we put a 30% tariff on Switzerland, and all hell broke loose. They were calling, I mean, like you wouldn't believe. And I know so many people from Switzerland, incredible place, incredible, brilliant place. But I didn't realize that they're only good because of us. And there's so many other examples. I mean, us, probably other places, but a majority of the money they make is because of us, because we never charged them anything. So they come in, they sell their watches, no tariffs, no nothing. They walk away, they make $41 billion on just us. So I said, no, we can't do that. So I'm going to bring it up. I still would have a deficit pretty substantial, but I brought it up to 30%. And I guess Prime Minister, I don't think President, I think Prime Minister called a woman, and she was very repetitive. She said, no, 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 you cannot do that, 30%. You cannot do that. We are a small, small country. I said, yeah, but you have a big, big deficit. You may be small, but you have a bigger deficit than big countries. He said, no, 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 please, you cannot do it. Kept saying the same thing over and over. We are a small country. I said, but you're a big country in terms of, and she just rubbed me.
Guys, gals, girls, I hate to, but I've got to get to work. I took a little bit of time off this morning to do this, but I have got to get to work. I really appreciate y'all tuning in. Thank you very much. Really appreciate y'all jumping on. Join the channel as a member. Help me support what I'm doing, helping veterans. I've got a meeting today with a United States Senator, so I will talk to y'all later. I'll let you know how it goes tonight in the live stream. Take care.